most important things you need to know if you're driving a commercial vehicle is that you need a huge amount of following distance up front. You don't want to be following too close. You need to leave as much room in front of the other guy as you possibly can, because if you get into a stop situation, you want to have as much room available to you as you can possibly get. Now, I know that it's one thing to be on I-80 and just have miles of following distance in front of you as compared to when you're going through Chicago, and it's just not possible to keep a huge distance in front of you. Drivers would say that you needed a truck length for every 10 miles an hour. So if you're doing 60 miles an hour, you should have 6 truck and trailer lengths in front of you. But that's not even good enough a lot of the time. I just leave as much space as I can possibly get. Now, when I'm in an area like Chicago, or if I'm running across I-94 through Gary there, and it's very tough to keep a great big space in front of your truck for safe stopping distance. And there's part of the problem I have with the E-logs, because the E-logs mandate now that you've got to keep going. You've got to keep going. Before, we all used to sleep and travel through the big cities at night, and that would improve the stopping distance because there wasn't nearly the traffic. Now, a lot of the times the E-logs actually force you to drive through the traffic. If you're on I-94 going through Gary, you just can't get away from it. You've got guys coming at you off the ramp, you got guys whipping in and around in front of you, guys got to pass you. What I do in a 3 or 4 lane, like going through Gary on 94, for instance, is I don't sit on the far outside lane. I sit 1 lane in. Sometimes if it's a 3 lane, I'm in the middle lane, and I just sit at the speed limit. And if you sit at the speed limit, everything's passing you. Everybody's impatient. But if you're in the middle lane, sitting in the speed limit, they can't really say much to you. It gives room for these guys sailing off the off-ramps to work around you. Usually they'll try to get in front of you. But that way, if you're holding your position, steady speed, doing the speed limit, you're legally in the right at that position. So nobody can say anything to you if somebody clips you. You are where you were supposed to be legally. Now, yes, because everybody's in a hurry, there'll be guys come up behind you in the middle lane and want you to move. But you know what? If you're doing the middle lane and you're doing the speed limit, that's probably the safest place you can be. So, and the idea is to keep yourself and your equipment safe. Just hold your position and let everybody go around you. And there'll be a few guys that are upset because they're all racing to get where they've got to go. And this is also the problem where I have with just-in-time freight, or guys like dump truck guys that get paid by the load. Those guys are always in a big rush because they think, oh, I got to get going, I got to make the next load. But really, that's a bit of a hazard to the rest of traffic, because some of those guys will speed trying to get where they need to get so they can squeeze in one more load, or they can make that 5 o'clock appointment even though it's 4:45 and they've left it too late and they're not going to make it anyway. And speeding is another huge cause of accidents. And that's part of the problem I have with just-in-time or paid by the load. Sit in the middle lane and leave as much room out front of you as you possibly can. When the weather conditions change, you'll need even more room to stop than you did before. And you guys have probably seen some of that YouTube footage of big wrecks on the interstates in the wintertime. There's one that sticks in my mind that was filmed on I-94 westbound around Kalamazoo, Michigan. Man, it's just got guys just flying over the hill and slamming into the pile of traffic that's already racked up in there. And I can't believe when I watch that video how fast those guys are going. They shouldn't be traveling that fast, because they're traveling faster than what they can stop if something hops up in front of them. And that's exactly why you get these big pileups. They haven't left enough room in front of the truck. They come around a corner or over a hill, or some guy has a problem in front of them and they just don't have the room that they need. So if I can pass on any piece of advice to you guys, it's that you need to leave as much room as you can possibly get out in front of you, because things can go wrong really quickly, and you want to have all the room and all the time to stop that you need. You don't want to be planting the pedal and doing a panic stop, maybe going into a skid or a slide if the roads are slippery. You just want to avoid that situation. If the road starts to get ugly on you, start easing back on the pedal, leave even more room in front of you, and just take your time. Don't get close to anything. Take your time, putter along, stay in your lane, don't be hopping lanes back and forth, and just remember that safety zone all the way around you, but especially out in front of you, because that's where you're going to need the space if something goes sour. If some guy zips in front of you and slows down, that often happens in traffic. Just ease off the pedal, get away from him. Let him go on ahead. He's in a big rush. Just let him go. They'll cut you off all day long. I know it seems counterproductive a little bit, because you're always slowing down all the time to let these guys go. But you're better to do that than try to keep up the pace and weave in and out and fight with these guys, because they'll always be faster than you. Best thing to do is just back away from them, let them go. They'll forget about you in 5 seconds or 10 seconds down the road. You just need to leave the space, mind your own business, do what you're doing. Something else that you'll see sometimes, especially in busier areas, or trucks traveling nose to tail, bumper to bumper, doing the convoy thing, doing the platooning thing. That's crazy. I know you might be with your buddies and chatting on the CB, but you shouldn't be all bunched up together, because that's an accident waiting to happen. And you think the guy in front of you's got his eye on the ball, but you don't know what he's doing. You don't know if he's flipping on the phone or got his CB to a different channel. You shouldn't be in tight, even to other trucks. Leave a ton of room. This platooning thing isn't going to save you any fuel particularly, but it sure could cost you a truck and a trailer and maybe your life. So don't do this convoy following too close thing and trying to draft like a NASCAR driver. Forget that. Just get away from everybody, be safe, and do your thing that way. Something else I've noticed about traffic over the years is it seems to travel in bunches or clusters sometimes, and you don't want to get involved in that either. I like to be out in front of the cluster. So if there's any sort of an accident, because they're all packed in together tight, if there's any sort of an accident, it's behind you. You don't want to be following one of these clusters if you can possibly avoid it, because when something goes wrong with them, you're going to catch up to them, and God knows what stupid things they're doing. So you're better just to avoid the traffic clusters and try to get out on your own. And in bad weather especially, I prefer to be out front, just because I know what I'm doing, and then there's nobody out in front of me that's going to screw me up. So when the weather turns south, I like to be leading the parade. I don't like to be stuck in the middle of it or following the parade, because that's when stuff can go wrong with guys in front of you. So in that instance, I want to be out front. And that way you've only got the weather and the road conditions to worry about, but not all the idiots that can't drive. Another temptation with commercial vehicles is when you're pulling a lot of heavy weight and you're having trouble holding your speed in the hills. A lot of guys will try to max their speed going downhill to minimize their speed loss going up the next hill. So they'll run up on stuff because they know they're going to lose speed on the uphill grade. So they'll run up on stuff in front of them to try to maximize their speed before they start the hill climb. That's a bad habit to get into. You're better just to stay back, and yes, you'll go up the hill a little more slowly, But at least you won't be charging up on some guy from behind and get almost behind him tight, and then he decides to make a left-hand turn in front of you. And that's when you've got a problem. So even when you're running downhill, running at the next grade, stay well away from the guy in front of you. The object of the game is not to get in an accident. One of the best ways to avoid accidents is leaving a safety zone all the way around the truck, but particularly out front of the truck. Leave as much room as you possibly can so as few people as possible interact with you and the truck as you're driving. Generally, a good driver can control the truck just fine. It's other people, four-wheelers, that will mess you up. So don't get close to anybody. Leave a safety zone. Leave all sorts of room out front of the truck for stopping distance, and enjoy the ride. Take care, relax when you drive, and I'll see you on the back home.